After 30 days of silence, parents revealed their heartwarming regret for skipping Thanksgiving. In the quaint suburb of Maple Grove, whispers floated through the air like the smell of pumpkin pie, a family tradition on the cusp of collapse. The Thompsons had always been a beacon of laughter and warmth. Every Thanksgiving, their home transformed into a festive hub, buzzing with the joyous chatter of relatives. But this year, as Thanksgiving approached, the silence in their lively dining room grew heavier. Without a single laugh echoing off the walls, James and Lisa Thompson sat absorbed in their work, their children, Emma and Jake, feeling increasingly invisible, craving that connection they had taken for granted. Days stretched on like the long minutes after a clock chimes, and instead of preparing for the customary feast, Emma and Jake became increasingly detached. They scrolled through social media filled with friends' joyous Thanksgivings, their empty hearts grasping for anything that resembled family warmth. Emma felt a knot tighten in her chest every time she passed the untouched dining table, while Jake quietly threw himself into soccer, hoping to dodge the stark reality of their family's absence. Hearts heavy, both siblings drifted towards their friends, where they found consolation but also insight. They began to hear and see the struggles of those around them: a single mother down the street with no money for food, an elderly neighbor alone and lonely as the holidays approached. The fires of empathy ignited within them, pulling them from their own isolation. Instead of sadness, they felt a new spark, a purpose that replaced the ache of longing. Together they devised a plan, swirling with an enthusiasm they hadn't felt in weeks. Emma, with her creative spirit, curated flyers for a community food drive. Jake, using his charm, rallied his teammates to join in, promising that together they could make a difference in their neighborhood. As they sorted cans and packed boxes, something shifted in Jake, and he began to smile again. Emma felt lightness in her heart, knowing they were doing something meaningful, something that reflected the true spirit of Thanksgiving: togetherness and compassion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the days turned to a month of silence, the energy of their initiative began to uplift them. Yet the shadow of abandonment from their parents loomed large. They questioned if work truly mattered more than family. They worried and wanted their parents to feel that same yearning. Each time they handed a meal to those in need, a bittersweet stiffness lingered, reminding them of the family they missed. Finally, on the 30th day of silence, James and Lisa returned home to a suffocating stillness broken only by the sight of their children's efforts. The dining room, once primed for a feast, was now a hub of flyers and donation bins. An emotional confrontation erupted as Emma and Jake revealed the guardianship they had taken on, exposing their parents' absence like a wound brought to light. Standing there, the air thick with unspoken truths, James and Lisa faced a stark realization: they had let their family's warmth slip into a void, and if they didn't act, their family might never recover. Would the Thompsons reconnect and heal, or had the loss created a rift too profound to mend? The answer hung like the last rays of dusk, leaving everyone anxious for what would come next. The following morning, the sun peeked through the curtains like a hesitant guest, illuminating the aftermath of the confrontation. Emma and Jake stood by the now empty dining table, still lingering in the raw emotions from the night before. They could still see the surprise etched into their parents' faces, the realization of what absence had done to their family. With a heavy heart, James looked around the room, absorbing the remnants of their children's efforts. The flyers fluttered gently in the crisp morning air, each one a testament to countless hours spent gathering food and compassion for the less fortunate. Lisa, still silent, clutched her coffee cup tightly, eyes fixed on the ground as if it could provide her with answers. But there was no escaping the truth: their children had stepped into roles that felt too heavy for their young shoulders. "Mom, Dad, we didn't want to confront you like that," Emma finally broke the silence, her voice barely above a whisper. "We just wanted you to see what we've been feeling, to realize what was missing." James lifted his gaze, resting it softly on his daughter, who fought back tears. We didn't know. We thought we were providing for you, for the future," he said, his voice shaky with vulnerability. Lisa placed the coffee down, her hands trembling as she tried to gather her thoughts. "But you're right. We were so caught up in work that we forgot what really matters," she admitted. "You two needed us and we weren't there." The room filled with tension as the weight of regret hung in the air. Emma and Jake exchanged a look, unsure of what to say next. Then, in an effort to lighten the atmosphere, Jake cracked a smile. "Well, at least the food drive is going great." "Yep," Emma chimed in, the corners of her mouth lifting. "We already hit our goal and then some. There are so many families who will benefit from it." Renewed conversation spilled into the air as the family discussed the impact of their initiative, and gradually, the heaviness in the room began to dissolve. Laughter started to seep in once more, like warmed maple syrup. For the first time in a month, they were genuinely together, sharing memories, hopes, and a common goal. Then, as emotions began to align, James took a deep breath. "How about we make our own Thanksgiving meal tonight?" His eyes lit up with determination. "We'll invite everyone we've helped. Make it a real celebration, one we can all be a part of together." Emma's face brightened at the notion, and even Jake's usual laid-back demeanor grew excited. "Yes, let us do it. We can cook, and everyone can bring a dish to share." Lisa nodded, a spark rekindling in her eyes. "And I'll help too. We can decorate the dining room just like we used to." They began to mobilize, excitement crackling in the air as ideas flowed. As they rushed to plan, Jake suddenly paused, a thought creeping in. "You know, what if we invite that single mom from down the street? The one with the little boy?" Emma nodded, her heart swelling with warmth. "And the elderly man next door, too. He needs a family to celebrate with." As they brainstormed, the atmosphere shifted from one of lost time to promising future. Forgiveness felt tangible, hanging over them like the aromatic scents of a holiday dinner in the making. Just as enthusiasm bubbled over, a thought crept back into the shadows of their minds. Would this newfound unity last? Or would work and distractions pull their parents away again? The question lingered, adding weight to their determination to mend the cracks in their family fabric. They all stepped into a new chapter, each with the hope that this time, they would hold on tight to the warmth that had been missing for so long. But as the sun set, casting warm orange hues through the window, the doorbell rang unexpectedly, pulling their focus away. Each glance exchanged was filled with anticipation and a hint of anxiety. Who could it be? "Maybe it's the neighbors," Emma suggested excitedly, but a part of her felt a flicker of unease. As they opened the door, a surprise awaited them that would shake the very foundation of their family's healing. The door swung open, creaking softly, and in stood Mrs. Thompson, the single mom from down the street. Her eyes were wide, glistening with a mix of surprise and warmth. She held a covered dish in her hands, but hesitation shadowed her face. It was heartwarming to see her. Yet in that instant, a whirlwind of uncertainty stirred inside Emma. "Hi, I hope I'm not interrupting," Mrs. Thompson stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "I heard about your Thanksgiving celebration and wanted to bring this for everyone." Emma's heart swelled. "You're not interrupting at all. We'd love for you to join us." Behind her, Jake nudged his sister affectionately. His expression mirrored the family's relief. Someone else was here to share in this newfound connection. As Emma stepped aside to let Mrs. Thompson in, the warm aroma of pumpkin pie filled the air, a comforting reminder of the season. "Is your son coming too?" Jake asked, his excitement bubbling over as he opened the door wider to Mrs. Thompson hesitated again, her brow furrowing. "He's not feeling well. Just a cold. But I thought it would be nice to at least stop by." "Of course," Lisa chimed in, her voice brimming with concern. "Next time we'll make sure he's included. Family and friends belong together, especially today." Emma watched Mrs. Thompson's shoulders visibly relax, a grateful smile breaking through. "That means a lot," she said. "Thank you for making room for us." As they stepped into the cozy glow of the house, the energy shifted. With each dish brought in, it felt like the pieces of a puzzle were falling into place. Soon, the dining room was a beautiful chaos of colors and scents, laughter mixing with the chatter as they focused on what mattered most each other. James busied himself in the kitchen, chopping vegetables, while Lisa adorned the table with candles and decorations, reminiscent of nights when the family would crowd together, full of life. Jake and Emma set the dining room with plates, while Mrs. Thompson shared stories about her son, a boy full of energy and mischief. Together they weaved a tapestry of fellowship. But just as it all came together, the door creaked again. This time it was Mr. Collins, the elderly neighbor. He looked a little friendlier than before, carrying a shopping bag from which a steaming casserole emerged. "I hope I'm not too late," he said, grinning like it was the happiest hour of his day. "Not at all. Come in, Mr. Collins," Jake called, his voice ringing with genuine joy. The warmth of community surrounded them as everyone welcomed him into the fold. As conversations surged, laughter mingled with the clinking of glasses. Emma felt a pang of nostalgia. This felt like a real gathering, one she thought they could redo only in memories. But deep down, uncertainty echoed again. Would this fleeting moment turn into a lasting bond, or was it just a holiday mirage? Emma caught her parents' reflections, both of them talking to Mrs. Thompson, genuine smiles painting their faces. A realization struck her. Their hearts were opening up, perhaps at last acknowledging the importance of these connections. But just as they sat together to say grace, the doorbell rang once more. Emma exchanged a nervous glance with Jake. Who could it be now? The answer came within moments as the door swung open to reveal an unexpected face. One that sent a shiver down Emma's spine. "What are you doing here?" she breathed, taking a step back, disbelief painting her expression as the family turned their gazes to the doorway. They could feel the tension tightening like a coiled spring. This new presence had the ability to unravel everything they had begun to mend, plunging them back into old patterns. What would happen now? Time stood still as Emma's eyes locked onto the figure in the doorway. It was her aunt, Bree, the one who had always offered more hurt than help. The memories surged back, heated arguments, misunderstandings, and all the times Bree had chosen anger over family. Seeing her now, right when the warmth of connection was budding, felt like a slap in the face. Emma Bree hesitated, her voice softer than before. "I wanted to apologize. I thought about you and the family, and I realized I made a mistake by not being here." The room quieted. Jake, Lisa, and their parents exchanged glances, uncertain how to respond. Emma's heart raced, memories of harbored resentment battling with the desire for reconciliation. The tension was palpable, a thick fog that seemed to settle in every corner of the cozy dining area. "Did you really think about us?" Emma found her voice laced with skepticism. "You didn't show up for a whole month. What changed?" Bree stepped inside, the smell of turkey filling her nostrils. She glided past the table, eyeing the vibrant spread, but it was the sight of Emma's parents that seemed to anchor her. "I thought I could handle everything alone. I thought maybe you would be better off without me." James, their father, took a cautious step forward. He cleared his throat as if extracting the weight of the past lodged in his chest. "Bree, we all make mistakes. It's what we do now that counts." Emma searched her dad's eyes. He looked genuine, his heart open to healing. Encouraged, she turned back to Bree. "But can we really fix this? Can you really change?" Bree's brows furrowed as she glanced down at her hands, fingers twisting the fabric of her sweater. "I don't know, but I want to try. I miss you. I miss all of you." The sincerity in Bree's voice was undeniable. As silence hung heavily, Emma felt the old walls she had built begin to crack. Could she risk opening the door to a past filled with disappointment? Suddenly, Lisa broke the tension, her bright spirit shining through. "Why don't you stay for dinner? We have enough food for an army, and you can tell us all about what you've been up to." Emma shot her sister an incredulous look. Was this really the time? But Lisa's smile was contagious. The others nodded in unison, willing to embrace this moment, even if it felt a bit forced. Bree hesitated but then nodded, her eyes gleaming with hope. Emma held her breath, unsure whether this moment would prove to be a miracle or simply another misstep. As the group eased into conversation, sharing laughter over the food, Emma found herself simultaneously nervous and relieved. The old hurt was still raw, but so was the longing for community. She knew they weren't out of the woods yet. Trust would take time to rebuild, but small steps toward forgiveness felt significant. With a glance around the table, complemented by her family's warmth and Bree's tentative laughter, Emma clung to a flicker of hope. They weren't just celebrating Thanksgiving. They were trying to piece together their family one shared meal at a time. Yet, before she could fully embrace the warmth of the moment, an unexpected knock echoed against the door. The noise pierced through the pleasant chatter, drawing curious and anxious gazes to the entrance. Who could it be this time? Emma's heart raced at the thought of more surprises, both thrilling and terrifying. What awaited them on the other side? The knock echoed once more, a rhythmic insistence that seemed to shake the calm. Emma's stomach flipped, part fear, part curiosity. She glanced around the table, searching for answers in the uncertain faces of her family. Bree looked at her, wide-eyed and expectant, as if her own past threatened to make an uninvited appearance. "Should I get it?" Jake asked, visibly torn between wanting to keep the moment light and the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. Lisa nodded, urging him forward. "Yes, please. Let us see who it is." With a deep breath, Jake crossed the small room, the floor creaking underfoot. Emma's fingers brushed the table's edge, nervous energy buzzing through her like electricity. The laughter and chatter had all but faded, replaced by the soft sound of Jake's footsteps as he approached the door. "Whoever it is, I hope they're ready for turkey," Emma's father joked, but the unease in his smile betrayed him. Each tick of the clock felt like an eternity as Jake reached for the handle. Would it be another family member? A neighbor dropping by? When Jake finally swung the door open, the unexpected sight pulled gasps from everyone at the table. Standing on the doorstep was Emma's mother's childhood friend, Rachel, her normally cheerful face marred by concern. She held a dish wrapped in foil, and her eyes darted anxiously from Jake to Bree. "What happened?" Rachel asked, stepping inside as if the house had suddenly grown colder. "I felt something was off when I saw your car missing from the driveway." Emma's heart sank. The earlier warmth felt like it was chased away by a cold wind. Rachel had been part of every Thanksgiving, a steadfast fixture in their lives. There was a history there that tangled with Bree's drama, a reminder of family dynamics that had once been so uncomplicated. "Mom, it's Rachel," Emma half whispered, her voice barely above a hush. Bree straightened her back, taken aback by Rachel's sudden presence. "You didn't hear from us?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Not a word," Rachel replied, her frown deepening. "I thought you would be here. I thought we were all coming together today." Rachel's words hung heavy in the air, each syllable adding pressure to the already simmering tension. Emma felt a knot twist in her stomach. Could the guilt of absent friends and family chip away at Bree's armor? Without thinking, Emma stepped toward Rachel, her heart aching with the memories of years gone by. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Rachel's eyes softened, understanding the hurt beneath Emma's plea. "Maybe we start by being honest with each other," she said gently. "You don't have to pretend everything is fine. Today is about connection even when it's messy." A moment of silence followed her words, and Emma felt the familiar weight of unspoken feelings rising to the surface. She glanced back at Bree, who seemed to search for something in Emma's gaze, a thread of forgiveness, perhaps. After a moment, Bree took a deep breath, the air heavy with what felt like an inevitable reckoning. "I've been running from my mistakes," she finally admitted, her voice trembling against the backdrop of Rachel's supportive presence. "I think we all have." The floodgates felt like they were opening, and Emma feared the tidal wave that could come crashing down. Would the revelations only deepen the fractures in their family, or could they finally face the truth together? Before Emma could fully process this new wave of emotions, another knock interrupted their reverie, echoing ominously through the house. Everyone turned to the door, a mixture of dread and curiosity flickering in their eyes. What now? Emma's heart raced. The door held the promise of more complications, or perhaps an unexpected chance for healing. With a wary glance shared among her family, she wondered. Who else was about to step into their tangled web of emotions? The air felt thick with anticipation. Each person frozen in a moment that stretched impossibly long. The knock came again, louder this time, a demanding rhythm that shattered the fragile silence. Emma glanced again at Bree, whose expression twisted with uncertainty. Jake shifted from foot to foot, his hands fidgeting nervously at his sides. As another knock sounded, Rachel stepped forward, her voice steady but urgent. "I'll check." "No, wait," Emma blurted. Her instinctive response startled her as much as the others. "Let me." She wanted to be in control of this moment, to confront whatever it was that threatened to disrupt them further. With measured steps, she approached the door, each heartbeat loud in her ears. The doorknob felt cool against her palm as she turned it, bracing for whatever lay beyond. As she swung the door open, a fresh gust of autumn air rushed in, swirling with the scent of fallen leaves and something wispy like nostalgia. Standing on the doorstep was a figure both familiar and foreign, her estranged grandparents, their faces lined with age and worry. Emma's breath caught in her throat. They were the ones who had been absent for too long, the ones whose absence had left an imprint on holidays past. We wanted to come," her grandmother said, tears shimmering in her eyes as she spoke. "We didn't know you needed us. We thought it was too late." Emma's heart swelled, a confusing blend of anger and love flooding her. Here they were, stumbling back into her life when everything felt on the verge of collapse. They had missed so much. Years of laughter, of heartache, all unshared. "Why now?" she managed, her voice shaking. "Why not before?" Her grandfather stepped closer, hands outstretched, palms up as if to offer peace. "We were afraid, Emma. Afraid of how things might be, afraid of facing the truth of family ties too long neglected." His voice cracked, exposing an unexpected vulnerability that softened Emma's anger just a little. Bree, still standing at the table, took a step forward, her expression unreadable. Rachel, sensing the emotional swell, stepped to the side, allowing this reunion to breathe life into the room. Emma shifted her gaze from her grandparents back to her sister, hoping for something, a sign, an acknowledgement. Bree looked at their grandparents, and then back to Emma. "Maybe we all need to say things we've kept silent for too long." Bree finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Like why we've been avoiding each other." The weight of that statement landed heavily in the room, echoing in the corners like the knock that had prompted this chaotic gathering. Emma felt a mix of dread and relief. Could they really peel back the layers of silence and lay their truths bare? She wanted to believe it, but a lingering doubt nagged at her. Would this bring them closer together, or break them apart even more? Her grandmother reached out tentatively, brushing a stray hair from Emma's cheek. "We'll do better, I promise. Just give us a chance." Hope flickered within Emma despite her skepticism. Could families really find their way back to each other after so many years of silence? As the moment thrummed with unspoken words, the door creaked gently, a reminder that perhaps the heavy burdens they carried could be shared. Emma's heart raced with both hope and fear as she thought of all they needed to confront, all that needed revealing. Outside, the wind picked up, rustling the trees with a whispering urgency, as if urging them to take that leap of faith. What would happen when they finally laid their truths on the table? Emma felt a pulse of foreboding mixed with expectation. She wondered if this was the moment they'd been waiting for, or if it was only the beginning of a deeper unraveling. Just beyond the doorway, the world waited, filled with unanswered questions and a knot of tangled emotions, daring them all to step into the unknown. Would they take the plunge together, or would the past pull them back? The deafening silence lingered as Emma stood there, her eyes darting between her grandparents and Bree. The air seemed to thicken with the weight of their past. Rachel leaned against the wall, arms crossed, watching, waiting. Jake hovered at the back, clearly unsure if he should step in or stay out of the emotional fray. Can we sit?" Emma's grandmother suggested, her voice trembling. There was something in her gaze that held a silent plea, as if she were asking for not just a seat at the table but a seat in their lives again. Emma stepped aside, allowing her grandparents to enter. Her heart thudded. She was a bundle of nerves, ready to unravel, yet desperate to hold everything together. Bree looked at Emma, sharing a fleeting glance that spoke volumes. They had both been waiting for this moment, even if neither of them realized it until now. As they settled around the kitchen table, Emma felt an unexpected warmth battling her dread. With the cool autumn air swirling through the open door, a sense of intimacy enveloped them. It was as if they had stepped into a bubble where time stood still. Emma, her grandfather began, swallowing hard. I know that we can't take back the time we lost, but I need you to know we've thought about you every day. How? Emma blurted, frustration bubbling to the surface. How could you think of me and still stay away? His eyes brimmed with tears. We thought we were protecting you. We were trying to keep our distance, afraid we'd disrupt your life. We were ashamed of how things turned out. Shame or fear? Bree interjected, her voice balancing between accusation and empathy. Emma admired her sister's bravery, though it felt like stepping on fragile ground. Both, their grandmother admitted, wiping a tear. We lost touch after the fight. We didn't know how to reach out. Felt easier to hide. She took a shaky breath. But we are here now. Please let us explain, let us try. Emma sat quietly, processing everything. She had longed for this moment but wasn't sure how to respond. Part of her wanted to shout, to push them away for all the hurt they caused, while another part was desperate to hear what they had to say. The past is a tangled mess, Bree said softly, breaking the palpable tension. But maybe today we can start untangling it? Her grandfather nodded. We're willing to face anything. We're ready for the truth, whatever it is. Emma felt heat rise in her chest. Was she ready? She glanced around the table. Rachel was leaning forward, eyes wide and full of comprehension. Jake was watching with uncharacteristic seriousness. Despite the wounds, the past's weight seemed lighter with every word spoken. Maybe we need to share our truths first, Emma said finally, her voice steadier now. All of us, not just you. As the weight of their shared silence began to lift, Emma noticed the sun dipping lower outside, casting long shadows across the kitchen floor, each both filled with the promise of revelation and the risk of deeper scars. Emotions swirled, each truth like a thread pulling through the unraveling tapestry of their family. Would they be able to weave a new beginning? But how many truths would it take to heal the wounds of the past? As their eyes locked, the flicker of shared hope hung in the air. Fear trembled within her, but excitement pulsed too. Somewhere beyond that kitchen, a distant storm brewed, reminiscent of the ones they had weathered alone. Would they find shelter together, or would the storm finally break them apart? With a deep breath, Emma resolved to be brave. She had already crossed the threshold. It was time to dive deeper. What's the first truth she would reveal? Emma felt the warmth of the sun as it dipped lower, but her heart felt like it had dropped into her stomach. Everyone's gaze turned to her, waiting. She could sense the anticipation in the room. My truth? She asked, almost incredulous. Could she really unravel the fabric of their shared pain first? Bree nudged her with a gentle smile, encouraging her to share. Yeah, start with whatever feels right, she whispered. The kitchen suddenly felt smaller. Emma took a breath. Okay, I guess I'll start from when it all began. Her voice quivered as memories flooded her mind. After the fight, everything changed. You weren't just gone. Your absence created this huge hole in my life. I didn't just miss you. She hesitated, swallowing back tears. I felt unworthy, like nobody wanted me. Her grandfather shifted in his seat, pain echoing in his eyes. That's the last thing we wanted you to feel. Bree interjected, what about us? We had no idea how to cope with losing you both. Mom and Dad argued all the time, thinking it was your fault. I never wanted that, Emma's grandmother murmured, wiping her eyes. I thought by keeping our distance we were doing the right thing. I see now how wrong I was. Everything changed, Emma continued, her pulse racing. I learned to let go of expectations, but it's felt really lonely. Every Thanksgiving I'd sit at the table, and the spot where you should be felt like a ghost. Silence stitched tightly around them. Emma's voice began to tremble and falter. She felt raw and exposed but took a breath, leaning in. I need you to know I wanted to reach out too. There were moments when I wished I could reconcile, but I didn't know how to hold that hope anymore. Her grandfather's brow furrowed, deep in thought. We thought you were better off without us, he confessed. That you had a life where our absence had no impact. Maybe we were the ones wrong to believe that, their grandmother said gently. We didn't have the courage to face our mistakes. I thought you'd be happier without the chaos we brought. Emma clenched her fists on her lap, wrestling against the torrent of emotions. It's not about you thinking I'd be better off, she said, almost in a whisper. It's about what I lost, what we all lost. No matter who was right or wrong. That was selfish, Bree added, her voice gaining strength. We were left in a mess because you avoided the hard conversations. The ones we needed to have. Outside, the wind began to howl, rattling the window panes. Emma's heart raced. She felt the storm's echo mirror their brewing conflict. And yet, amid the chaos, there was a flicker of possibility. Maybe we can start fixing this together, Emma suggested, her voice strong despite the fears lingering in her heart. But it means being honest. Are you ready for that? As they exchanged glances, fragment after fragment of their shared pain hung in the air, mixing with sparks of potential for healing. Could honesty truly stitch together the fabric of their torn hearts? Just then, Jake cleared his throat, breaking the silence as he stepped forward. I think it's time we all lay it on the table. I have things to say too. Emma turned to him, her heart skipping a beat. His words were just as crucial as hers. What thoughts brewed in his mind? Would his truth help? Or would it complicate their fragile conversation? Jake stepped closer, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. The tension in the room thickened, each face waiting intently for his words. Emma's heart raced, caught between hope and anxiety. What could he possibly say to add to this fragile moment? I've watched you all go through this, Jake began, his voice steady yet soft, and I've kept my distance too. I thought it was easier both for you and for me. He paused, glancing toward Emma, then back at everyone in the kitchen. But we all know how silence has only deepened the wounds. Emma nodded, understanding flooding her. They all had chosen silence. It was a common ground, an unspoken agreement to avoid conflict. Yet here they were, drowning in the very conflict they had tried to escape. Jake rubbed the back of his neck, a sign of his nerves. I've seen you struggle, Emma. It's like I've been watching a movie, where I knew the ending would be painful, but I couldn't look away. He gulped, emotion choking his words. I never wanted to be a part of this family drama. I wanted to protect myself. But in doing so, I let you down. Protect yourself? Emma echoed, surprised at his vulnerability. You think staying quiet protected anyone? Her voice cracked as she pressed on. It only isolated us further. Pain flickered across Jake's face. He took a deep breath. I realized that now. I was scared of pulling the curtain back on everything. I thought if I stayed silent, I wouldn't have to pick sides or deal with the chaos. But I never acknowledged my role in all of this. Bree shifted closer to him, her encouragement palpable in the air. But you're here now, Jake. You're willing to talk. That's the first step, right? I hope so, he said, the weight of his words hanging heavily. But I've noticed something, and it scares me. I see how much everyone's hurting, and I feel responsible in a way. We've all suffered because of choices made and silence kept. The wind howled again outside, echoing the storm of emotions swirling inside the room. Grandma and Grandpa exchanged glances, the shame of old wounds painting their faces. Jake finally continued, his voice growing firmer. I want to find a way forward. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I can't hide anymore. We all need to accept that we're in this together. Silence followed his words like an invitation, a subtle urge for everyone to lay their hearts bare. Emma held her breath, the enormity of the moment weighing down on them all. If Jake was ready to step up, what about everyone else? What else was buried beneath the surface? Jake, Emma said softly, thank you for being honest. I think there are more truths we need to share. Bree leaned forward, her eyes bright. What about our parents? Do you think they're ready for that? Emma could feel the shift in the room. One confession had led to another, and now they had a choice to make. Would they continue to peel away the layers of silence? The air buzzed with anticipation as her grandparents shifted nervously, clearly weighing their own truths. We're ready, the grandmother finally said. But it's not only up to us. Are you prepared to hear what we have to say? Emma's heart pounded, the gravity of it all settling heavily on her shoulders. What secrets lay in wait? How would it all unfurl? The room felt electric with the promise of revelations, and the storm outside raged on, mirroring their tumultuous hearts as her grandfather cleared his throat to speak. Emma's mind raced. This moment could change everything. Let us begin, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. But would the honesty that was about to erupt provide the healing they desperately needed, or would it further unravel the already frayed threads of their family? As the robust winds continued to howl outside, rattling the window panes like an eager audience, the room fell into a pregnant silence. Emma, Bree, Jake, and their grandparents huddled around the kitchen table, their eyes locked onto the elder man as he prepared to unveil the secrets of years gone by. Before anything else, we need you to know how sorry we are, he began, voice thick with emotion. Each word felt like a delicate snowflake landing softly in the chaos of their lives. We never intended to hurt you. When we pulled away, we thought we were doing what was best for everyone. We thought silence would keep you out of our arguments and problems. Silence didn't spare us from pain. Bree interjected softly but firmly. It just created a void that echoed louder. James shifted in his seat, vulnerability now coloring his expression. I never thought I could leave my family behind, but before I knew it, there was so much silence that I forgot how to speak. I tried to focus only on work, thinking it was what you all needed. He glanced at Lisa, his wife, whose eyes mirrored a mix of gratitude and regret. But I see now I couldn't have been more wrong. He reached for Lisa's hand, their clasp a testament to the love they were trying so hard to nurture back into life. You all needed me to listen, to be present. The air filled with unsteady breaths. Emma felt her heart flutter, but steadiness began to bloom. This was at the moment her family would truly take the first step toward healing. As her grandfather continued, the emotions intertwined with each sentence. We realized too late that our absence didn't protect you from the hurt, it added to it. The guilt of years of silence has weighed on us like concrete. Tears streamed down her grandmother's cheeks, and her trembling hands brushed away the evidence of her heart's labor. To lose you all because of our pride and shame, it haunts us every day. We missed out on your lives, and that's a regret that lives in our hearts. Jake shifted forward, a newfound determination glistening in his eyes. I think we all carry burdens. Maybe sharing them is the way to lift them together. Inspired by his brother's courage, Emma nodded. I'm ready to share. I want everyone to speak their truth and not hide. The resolve in the room thickened. As they began to open up, their hearts unfolded like spring flowers reaching for the sun. The room became a tapestry of confessions, every thread weaving them closer together. Bree revealed her loneliness, feeling disconnected from everyone, and even her unsteadiness in how to rejoin the family. Jake shared his fears about not being enough, about wanting to fit in yet feeling overlooked. Emma listened, holding their shared memories close, a reminder that they were all in desperate need of each other. With each confession, walls began to crumble, revealing a landscape of love trapped beneath their grief. The storm outside began to calm, as if the universe recognized their rapidly healing hearts. Finally, Rachel chimed in, adding weight to the conversation. What a gift this moment is. Each of you is not alone. I know it feels heavy now, but opening those wounds is a crucial part of healing. Emma felt the collective nods around her. They were on the precipice of change, standing together finally, ready to take the leap into a brighter future. Perhaps they could transform their pain into purpose, reclaiming their family bond with every shared meal, every holiday. "Let us make a new tradition," she proposed, glancing at her parents. "We could have a family gathering every month, a time where we come together honestly with no masks. Just us. No silence. No hiding." "Shockingly good idea." Jake grinned, breaking the last remnants of tension with laughter. "Let us commit to it from today forward." Bree chimed in with conviction, "And we'll invite those we help too. It's not just about us. Please, can we open our circle?" One by one, they exchanged glances filled with warmth and reassurance. They were on the brink of something beautiful, a rebirth of family, redefined by vulnerability, love, and shared purpose. "I'm in," James said finally, his voice steady. "Let us welcome those who need belonging too, and never stop reaching out." As each family member clinked glasses, a wave of warmth filled the room. Tears, laughter, shared dishes became sacred symbols of their new journey, an open invitation to life filled with honesty and connection. The sun broke through the heavy clouds outside as they raised their glasses, and for the first time in years, Emma felt the weight of family pressing lovingly against her heart. "This is just the beginning, together," she whispered. At that moment, it didn't just feel like Thanksgiving. It felt like home. Now, let's keep this uplifting momentum going. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your engagement matters for us to keep sharing these powerful stories together.